Yeah, what it do, snackers and snackettes? It's your boy Gage. I'm joined by the homie Sin. Sin, talk to the people.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're here to do this.
Yeah, we are. We're here to do exactly this.
Yeah.
So time to get directly in to episode 9 of Cloak and Dagger, which is titled Backbreaker.
We're almost to the end. We,
So
we we're almost to the end now, ain't we? We're close to the end.
there's one more episode left.
Yeah, yeah. Woo.
So first and foremost, again, that the episode is titled Backbreaker. Um, what do you think about the title? Does it match what happens in the episode?
If you wouldn't tell me it was Backbreaker, I would have known that that's what it was called.
I get that, but now that
Yeah.
you know what it's called, having seen the episode, do you think it matches?
No.
You know, they've been these all of the episodes have had kind of like this underlying, thing with the whole name that
Mm-hmm.
kind of helps to make sense of all of what's going on. I'm not so sure about this one.
I'm not. I'm not either. Nothing about backs or breaking. Well, maybe something about breaking, right? Yeah,
Breaking.
breaking, but like back
Yeah.
breaking, like I no, just no. Yeah.
All right, well, look, man, let's just jump right in. The the episode kind of gives us a good look into where they start out by talking about heroes, right? So
Yeah.
the history teacher, who I guess is not teaching history class in this particular instance, though, is explaining to the students about heroes and regression and kind of the arc that a hero has to go on.
Right.
And it's almost like they're basically walking you directly through
what they're
what
going what they're going through, right at that point in time.
Yeah, what the episode is. And we see at the start Evita's aunt, the streets, spitting alcohol, making marks on the ground, and she stops at this Roxxon like pipeline or what have you on the side of a building, or maybe the side of somebody's house or something like that. And we don't know it, I guess, then, but she seems to come to the conclusion that Roxxon is at the helm of whatever the issue is going to be that she's been talking about for the last couple of episodes.
Right.
And we get into this whole thing with heroes and where it goes. And so again, it kind of gives you the idea of where it's going to go. And Tandy is immediately back to her old ways. Like, a couple episodes ago, it seemed like they were both kind of coming to grips with who they were, where they were, and kind of knew what they needed to do. But I think really it was still, they are still both in a mind frame where what these abilities are that they have and what they can do are still more than anything being used for a selfish purpose, even though Tandy seems more selfish than Tyrone's.
Extremely. Oh Lord, extremely. Yeah.
But still, it was a means to an end for him, which this episode does a really good job of kind of putting that, like, it's always kind of painted her as the bad guy and made her seem really more selfish than him as a person. Because I think from the very beginning, he's just accepted that he gets beat up and he just has to take it. You know what I mean? He just kind of has to deal with it because he's this black child in this rich white school where he doesn't have options, so he doesn't get to fight back and he doesn't get to do anything about the things that are being done to him. He just has to take it. I mean, in this episode, we get to kind of see that final straw that pushes him.
Yeah.
And so, obviously having in the last finally seeming to have reached a level of vindication in catching, Connors, getting him to admit what had happened. Clearly at the end of that episode, it was like, well, this isn't going to go as planned, which we had to know because there was more episodes left, right?
Of course, yeah.
What do you think about Tandy and her kind of going back to her old ways, and then for some reason seeming to make a decision and deciding to go back and get her ex-boyfriend, like Liam, out of jail? Like, what do you think about that and direction that she seemed to be going? Do you feel like any of that was the truth for her?
I think it was all selfishness. Like it's always a way to make her feel better. You know what I mean? Like going back to save, going back to get him at that point. After all this time, she did it to make herself feel better, not necessarily to like make amends with him and like, you know what, let me go get him out, let us fix things. No, she did it to make herself feel better. She does the things with her powers. You see her powers evolving, I think, faster than Tyrone's because she's extremely selfish with what's going on with her and what's
Using
going
them.
on. Yeah, she uses them and she abuses them. Like he gets on her all the time. Like you just can't, like what you're doing with your powers, you just can't do that to people. Like that's not right. You know what I mean? Like stuff like
Yeah,
that. I think she's going backwards more than forwards. You're right. There was a point where she was going forward. You know what I'm saying? With everything, but like
yeah,
after I think being stuck in that kind of like loop when they were both in what's in the guy's head. Now it's more so she's going back to her old
yeah,
ways of going back to more so being selfish and all that kind of stuff and being all about herself. It's about me and it's about my family, trying to put my life back together. And you know what I'm saying? Like, even though they're tied together, they clearly know that. Like you can't do one without the other, but she's focused on it's me, forget you type of deal. So yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I will say that probably my biggest gripe with this episode is ours and like their failure to really develop and explain what it is that she's doing, because she walks you through it. She straight up tells you, like, yeah, I've discovered this
Yeah.
new ability within my abilities to like take people's hopes. Like I can see people's hopes, but then like take their hopes and use it against them or something like that. And like
Yeah.
it leaves them in this state where it's like they're on drugs or something. And like
Yeah.
she seems to get some kind of a euphoria from it that's like the drugs that she's on. So it's kind of like she has become or is becoming addicted to taking people's hopes as opposed to taking drugs, I
Yeah.
think.
Using that as a replacement for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird. And then, you know, when we see her in that moment with Mina Hess, you know, in her home with her father, and you know, they have that conversation, and then Mina invites her to like, I want to give you a job. You know what I mean? Like, you're smart, you know, you're clearly, you know, you are your father's child, so you got an open door. And I know, you know, we can take what he was working on and push it forward. And then when she jumps into Mina's head and does whatever she does to her,
It's just flowers
like,
and walking around in a garden and just
right. Well, I mean,
it's,
I get that what Mina wants, like Mina's hopes are to literally create a better place where
right,
like flowers can bloom, and it's not, you know, like what she's doing, as destructive as it can be to the environment, she's looking for a solution to that thing.
right,
And that's what she wants. Those are what her hopes are.
right.
But as she touches her and the flowers and stuff begin to wither, as she takes away her hopes, I guess, is okay, you hope that all these flowers and things, well, guess what? Let me take that away from you. And she does. And then she says to her, now you know how it feels. And I guess it's supposed to be a certain amount of insight into how Tandy feels it, like literally. And she says it to Tyrone when she shows up at his school again, which she has a tendency to do.
Yeah,
That like nothing ever changes. You do, no matter how much effort or time you put in, everything stays the same, and there's nothing that you can do that makes a difference. So whatever hopes that she had, like she clearly can't bring her father back, right? And at least trying the hope that she had of clearing her father's name, even if she could, it wouldn't be worth it because he wasn't the person that she thought he was, right? He turns out that he was like abusive to her mother. It just kind of took everything that she thought about her father for the last 8 years growing up and just crushed it all. And so, I mean, I get it. I think it's important that they touch on that and give you an idea of like where they are. But she is kind of very lost, right? In terms of
Absolutely right now, yeah.
what she should do and where should she go. And she got all that money. You would think she would go and take care of some things, but
no, it's Tandy, so she's going to stay in the muck because that's what she's used to right now.
she runs amok.
Yeah, that's her comfort zone.
Yeah, no doubt. It is but she, when she shows up, when she takes Liam to the church after she gets him out of jail, and he's kind of like, I mean, you kind of just left me here. You know what I mean? Like, I've been in here, I ain't heard from you at all.
She's giving a
and
spirit
then
of I'm with him. Like I ain't believing nothing you're saying right now.
right, right. But then I think for a brief moment, once he got there and she started talking to him and telling him like the reason why I live in this church is because this is where I always wanted to get married, and like she is beginning to explore that, okay, I do have hopes that are hopes other than the ones that I've been so focused on, right? And that maybe he's a person who she can move forward with some of her hopes and dreams. I always hoped I could get married, whatever. But then she gets him, she's in his head and she can't help herself. She has to go to try to take.
I gotta touch it. I gotta get some more of it. Yeah.
And I feel like it wasn't. I mean, that wasn't her hopes. That was his hopes, right? Because she already knew that was he wanted, because that was what he wanted, because she touched him
early
several
on,
episodes back or whatever, and she ran away from the idea of marriage. So being in there and seeing his hope of, getting married or whatever, it's like she really just brought him there so that she could drain him, I guess, of his hopes to get that high again.
It's almost like an emotional vampire.
Yeah, it's terrible. And however it works, Tyrone ends up there, right? He gets into this scuffle, which we should probably touch on. So, the way that he ends up in her, I guess in Liam's head, really, in her world, she says out of her head, but he is having a really tough time dealing with the fact that the police have contacted him and his parents,
right?
Told them to come to the station, and they have said,
his folks just like, whatever, just kind of like just whatever with it. Y'all say that, we don't believe you. We going back to what we do. And he's sitting there like, I've been telling y'all this for years.
Say what though?
Yeah, I was right. Why are y'all still acting like this? And he's struggling.
Right, but they bring them in to specifically say, hey, we got evidence, we got a confession, a filmed confession of a police officer saying that he shot your son. And then, you know what I mean?
And they're like, yeah, you say that. We know, like, yeah, we heard that before.
Right.
Yada, yada, yada.
Right.
Stuff like that. He's like, because the work he put in to get that confession. You know what I'm saying? And then I just like that. I like that whole argument. I know we'll probably touch on it later, like when they had in house, like that family, like him and his mother had about that particular situation. But
right. I mean,
at this point, he's frustrated with his parents about that issue.
Super frustrated.
Yeah.
Happening in this show about perspective, right? And we tend to get a lot of what Tandy's perspective is, and a lot of what Tyrone's perspective is, only to then have, you know, it kind of turned on you and be like, yeah, but from this person's perspective, it's this. So with that having happened, and it's not really clear at that point right away, but you know, clearly he ends up like they do that in the morning, and he goes to school the same day. And you know, if Vita tries to talk to him, he just like ignores her. And then you know, he goes to class, but he's not paying attention. Teachers are giving him a hard time, and then he bumps into that one dude again.
And these happen. Like I'm done.
Oh,
I'm done with all this.
Yeah.
I'm laying hands on all y'all.
Right.
I've been dealing with all this throughout the season. I can't take it no more. He just snapped.
I had enough of you. He probably been dealing with that dude for far longer than just this season.
Of course,
you know what I mean? Like you think there's a history there, right? Like, like
it
you know,
wrong day. It was overdue. Like you've been pushing this dude for years, and
time for you to get mollywopped, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It was. Yeah, and he did.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He got mollywopped.
He caught them hands. Yeah,
he caught every all the power fist.
He caught it all.
He did. He got the He gave him the kick'ems, bro.
Yeah, he did.
Gave him a parting shot. So then, you know, the teacher grabs him, takes him in the office, and just starts giving him the business again. You know what I mean? And it really does. It does still seem like he's being picked on. You know what I mean? That he's just kind of like, you think you like, you know, and he's angry and he's frustrated, and you know, he after the teacher makes him stand with his arms out in prep school, I guess.
Which I've learned a new punishment for in the future when I have kids.
No, sir. That is not okay.
Arms out with books.
You better make them read instead. Yeah, he just, you know, he is the explanation of the idea. They use it in a good way to say, you know, when he's asking him about the War of 1812 and how it ended, but when did it really end? How come the fighting didn't stop? We're here in New Orleans, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he uses it as a really good metaphor to try to talk to Tyrone about, you know, the war that you're fighting since your brother died. The war's over. You know what I mean? And you're still battling. You're fighting a fight that isn't going anywhere, right? It's supposed to be over already, and you have to find a way to get past it so that you can come to grips and live your life, so you can be you. You know, and I understand what he's trying to tell him. It just was a really bad day to try to tell him that.
No, I did like that exchange between the two, but I agree. Like it was a bad day to have that exchange. But I understand why you were trying to, you know what I'm saying, have it. Like,
right.
I thought that was a dope moment.
You know, when he touches him, when they get into that scuffle, I mean, he got a little extra and did swing at my man. Bad idea, kids. Don't do that. But you know, in the tussle, when he touches him and then he begins to see his fear.
I thought that was dope.
You know that. Right.
Yeah, I thought it was dope. We've been knowing the priest all these episodes, but not knowing like his past, you know what I'm saying? But like we know he cares for Tyrone, you know what I mean? Like he's trying to get through to him, you know what I mean? And Tyrone is constantly fighting back throughout the whole show. So now you kind of get to see like I went through some serious things. And I've come out the other side. And now I'm trying to help you get past something serious as well. Like I'm not just saying this like I haven't been through anything as serious as what you're going through, type of deal.
Right, but that's a real thing. Like for a kid who has no experience, they always think that they're going through something nobody knows, nobody understands.
Yeah.
But I think that's also an important lesson in that is that, you know, if you're going to talk to somebody from a place of understanding, you have to make it clear why you understand. You know what I mean? Like you have to tell that story. You have to be honest about it. So, you know, but it also sheds a lot of light on where Tyrone is going to a school that teaches and preaches, you know, God and Bible and church. And he's an atheist. He doesn't believe any of it. Most of it is probably because of what happened to his brother, right? And
of course,
what he has. So, You know, he said some very hurtful things, but they're coming from a place of honesty. And once he gets into that world and it says, okay, now that he's in that world and he sees this fear that he has, like he either was an alcoholic or was afraid he was going to turn into an alcoholic, and being where he is saved him from that, which in turn probably saved somebody else's life because it kept him from hurting some little girl, you know what I mean, and running into somebody off the road, drunk driving, whatever. And then he ends up in Tandy's dream, in her head, where he gets to witness her getting ready to take these hopes from Liam. And kind of gives her that, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Like, once again, I'm, why are you doing this? Yeah.
Right. So when it finally comes to a head and he gets out and he's talking to Evita, who finally says, listen, like we gotta talk and I can help you, but you gotta rap with me. And here comes Storm and Tandy, bro, just coming through like, yo, there's security, man. In that school building.
She gets through everything.
I'm not a beast, but it's not like she was trying. You know what I mean? She just came through in the overalls like, what? Like, like right into the schoolyard, like, you know what I mean? And then Vito's kind of like, hey, look, man, I know you better ease back. You know what I mean? Like,
I love that moment. Like, hey, you better chill. My man having a hard day. I don't know who you is. I don't care. You will catch his hands. Back up.
Hey, and Tandy like, man, you catch these light daggers. You back up. You know what I mean? And then, very important moment in this episode, she touches Evita, tries to get them hopes, and she don't let it happen. She turns, sees it, pushes her away. So clearly,
oh yeah, she's got the gift.
She got
the gift. Like, you
got some things.
You ain't touching me. You ain't doing all that.
Still scared her though.
I gotta get away from you.
Right. She ran off. Use the devil. Right. Is what she said. Use the devil. It's kind of that was an important moment. You know what I mean?
It was.
Tells you that she's gonna be more involved than what she has been for sure.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on my man Connor showing up at the bar and putting them hands on O'Neal like your little YouTube video that's inadmissible was gonna keep me in jail, and all these cops in here about to watch me. And listen, let me tell you something. The moment I saw them zoom in on the shillelagh on the wall, I knew somebody was getting it with the shillelagh. I just didn't know who it was going to be.
Yeah.
When she turned around and mollywopped my man in the back of the head. First of all, if you're going to mollywop somebody with a shillelagh off the wall, one, they shouldn't get up. Two, don't let them get up. She was drunk. I get it. You know, whatever.
Because he got up.
Oh, and he let her have the pause. I'm gonna drag you down, and I'm gonna whop you.
Ain't nobody get up and do nothing.
Nope, not at all. So clearly, the entire force, bro, everybody in there.
Yeah, like really, nobody's gonna get up and do nothing. I get she hit him first. I get it. I even get the fact you want to let him get his payback. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, come on. Ain't nobody going to jump in and be like, hey, chill, cuz, back up. Nope. They let him do his thing and go back to the bar and start drinking with everybody. Just left her on the floor.
I mean, I'm going to be real with you. I was surprised she got to get up off the floor. I don't really understand how that happened. But yeah, I mean, they just backed him up. You know, he told her, like, man, don't stay down there too long because I ain't done with you. You know what I mean? Like, and he was real. You know what I mean?
Good to know. Apparently, next time I gotta catch a body. glad I know from now on for future
Yep.
reference.
You better catch it for real. So, we end up getting to see Tyrone come home, have a conversation with his mother.
Mm-hmm.
Very important conversation that gives some insight into where she is on the whole thing, right?
Very, very real conversation. Yeah.
And I'll be real, as a parent, we do this. I don't really like it, but for her to just be like, come sit down, right? And he comes to sit down like you got something, like she has something she wants to say to him. And then she just says, ask me. I'm thinking, man, just say what you got to say, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know what it is. You know what I mean? Like, you know what it is. Why are you doing that? But then when he asks, about it, and he's saying, like, you didn't even try. Like, you don't believe me. Why didn't we do anything? Why is this it? Why do we just walk out? And she tries to explain to him that, and we live in a world where if what you were saying was true, your life wouldn't have meant anything. If we believed it and we pushed it, if a cop did it and he got away with it, that means somebody covered it up. That means somebody else helped him cover it up, which means everybody in that joint, you know what I mean, is about it. And it wouldn't have been nothing to stop them from going after you and having something happen to you. And we couldn't have that. Right.
Very
so
true.
You get some understanding, right? Because it's shot in a way where you really kind of feel Tyrone's frustration. And then you get to a place of understanding where his parents were and did why they played ball as hard as they did. And, saying, look, wake up, man. Like, have you been paying attention to what's happening in the world? Like, if a cop does something to a black boy, like, it don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? A confession don't mean nothing. So, very important. And then, of course, after the detective gets up and walks to the car and you hear, hey, we got a suspect. The whole city is on this. We're going after the guy that killed this police officer. She's ready to jump on it. And they show up in my man's house. Tyrone, you are wanted for the murder of. Come out. Like, bruh, run, bruh.
Mom's keeping real. It wastes no time. Get out here. Go.
Right. Get low.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Tandy. Oh, special Tandy.
Oh, yep. Oh, Tandy.
Tandy goes back to the church. Finds out Liam gone. And guess what Liam's gone with?
Everything.
All that paper you sold your soul for.
Everything.
All that money you sold your soul for.
Not mad at him. You left him in there to rot.
I mean, yeah, real talk. She stole the only hope that he had was staying and getting married to her. She took that from him. So if he doesn't have that anymore, right? Like after she did it to Mina, when that bee showed up, which is all she's been working for, is trying to save that bee and make sure those bees are around. She just crushed that joint. So it becomes something that she doesn't care about anymore, right? It's hopeless. So it's no point. And for him, she left him with the realization that like being with Tandy, getting married to her is hopeless. So he might as well split. And that's what he did. And she did that to herself. So what does she do? She goes back to mama, walks in the house like, you know what? I think Tyrone was right. Asked her, like, did you even talk to your mother? You know what I mean? About what was going on with, with your father or whatever. Like, maybe it's not what you think, whatever, I guess. But because even still, her mother was still, for whatever reason, really trying to fight to clear his name. You know what I mean? Yeah. In the same way. So, she's like, I'm ready to talk. And we got a glimpse, right? Like when she was in the police station getting Liam, and she turned and she saw the water bottle lady. Right then and there, I thought she was gonna get up and go follow her. Like, I know this broad. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one who shot the lawyer. I gotta go get. You know what I mean? And she didn't. And she shows up at home, and she's talking, and mom's ain't coming out. Shots fired. You know what I mean? She comes out with mom's at gunpoint. Like, come on out, Tandy. Problem spilling these beans. So,
no, she don't.
No. So you got to the count of 3. Tandy got them hands. You get to hear my man narrating. Like, we'll come to a point when the hero got to do that thing.
Second that joint went off, I was like, God, I hate cliffhangers. Like, I was
straight up.
That's why I don't do this.
Straight
now
up.
I gotta wait till next week to see what happens.
Bruh, in my head, I had already watched her duck, slide out, swoop, swoop, throw 2 joints, hit Slim in the head. Like, moms, look what I can do. Come on, let's go. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I'm ready. Tyrone getting ready to show up. Without the cloak. He didn't get to grab the cloak before he had to go out. Right. Man, but Tandy, he's gonna go to the church. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna go to the church because Tandy got his brother's jacket.
And it's a cloak. It has a hood, right? I got you.
Jacket.
Yes.
Who knows? But that's what I'm guessing. So look, I'm gonna be real. The way they ended it, I have high expectations for the next episode. I really do. It is the season finale.
I'm definitely looking forward.
And clearly, the show is doing well enough. They've already announced a season 2. So,
hey,
it's gonna be mayhem, and that's gonna be a thing. So, all in all, man, I mean, I dug the episode, and I'm seriously looking forward to having a discussion about next week, and then getting together and doing a roundtable, so we can discuss the entire season as a whole.
I'm probably gonna rewatch the entire season this week to get ready for the last one, just to get ready for like the whole Big Joan about the season, like just kind of a recap. Like just watch it all, soak it all in. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. Definitely. Yeah.
Well,
I'm looking forward to this week's episode.
Until that time, for now, make sure that you guys hit the ding-a-ling bell. Thank you all for tuning in, paying attention, keeping up with us. Let us know what you're thinking. What are your expectations for the finale? And then make sure you tune back in the Monday after the finale so you can see what we thought about the finale. And then shortly thereafter, again, we'll have a roundtable discussion so we can talk about the season as a whole, where we think it should go, and all that jazz. So make sure you're following us on social media at Loading Snacks. I'm at Empty Shells, MTSHELLZ.
Yep.
That, my man, is at Sincere619. And with that, we're gonna close this out. We through. Toodles and Lose.
We out.